Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown.
Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown. He's got a man. Touchdown.
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown.
He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fire to the end zone. Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. 1, 2, 3, let's go! What is good, Finn Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we're back here for another one on this Saturday as we got plenty to go over. Plenty of Dalvin Cook talk, plenty of Madden talk. Tua's family looks like it's continuing to grow. And we're going to talk about if Wilkins should be forced to play on the franchise tag. Great article by Omar Kelly. We'll look at the Dolphins last year in terms of 3 and outs because it's very impressive. And we will talk about a bunch of other stuff. So, appreciate all of y'all coming out. There's a few things I want to talk about here, okay? First of all, let's talk about the fearmongers in this community that fearmongered over Tyreek Hill, right? Same people who Deshaun Watson was innocent until proven guilty and given every excuse in the book, but Tyreek Hill was guilty until proven innocent, and now they're trying to do the same with Dalvin Cook. Guilty until proven innocent, and I see there's arguments going on in the chat right now about coming to a settlement. Listen, coming to a settlement is not admitting you were guilty. Coming to a settlement is a business decision saying, I want to get this out of the way so this person does not affect my future money. Because, see, what people aren't realizing here with this Dalvin Cook thing is was Dalvin Cook arrested? No. So where does this tell you this Dalvin Cook thing is heading? If it heads anywhere, and we're going to dive deep into it in a little bit here, but just think about this for a second. He was not arrested, and he knows this is going to a civil. If this is going anywhere, it's going to a civil suit. So what does a civil suit end in? Ding, 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 money. All that was trying to get the money out of the way to move on with their life. Anyways, we're going to go on because I got a bunch of stuff to go on here because this is not as cut and dry as people seem to be believing, and fearmongers out here seem to be trying to get y'all riled up about, okay? This is a much, much deeper situation than so, and actually, a reason why you haven't seen my 3 takes video go up yet is because not only have I been doing work behind the scenes on trying to find out stuff about where Cook will land, but I've also been trying to do some backdoor research on what's been going on with this whole thing privately, etc., etc. That's why my 3 takes video will come tonight on Patreon, because I've been trying to accumulate stuff about Dalvin Cook to talk about here, and I got a couple other things to talk about in the video, not just Dalvin Cook for that 3 takes, but this is not as cut and dry as people want to make it out to believe. It's just not. I just don't know what else to tell everyone right now. Don't jump to conclusions. That's all I will say in regards to it. But listen, I understand both sides. Okay? I understand how some people are going to sit there and say, well, he admitted to pay her money, it looks bad. But then I understand the other side and where the other side is coming from of, hey, this is headed to a civil suit, wanted to get the money out of the way so they can move on with their life and it wouldn't affect future money, which is a business decision, right? So we're going to get into all this because this is not just so cut and dry, and I know the fearmongers are, I know the people who aren't really Dolphin fans but covering the Dolphins, or the casuals, and then the other casual Dolphin fans are trying to fearmonger and make this, Dalvin Cook's an abuser. Dalvin Cook. Listen, these people don't even know the facts. And what's funny is some of these idiots are going out there and saying that others will be held liable potentially if, guess what? If you say he didn't do it, you can be held liable by the woman, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? That woman and her attorney are getting sued by Dalvin Cook for saying that he did do it. So if you're out here calling him a woman abuser and with a platform, and you're out here calling him this, that, and third, and pointing the finger and saying he's guilty, you're just as liable if it turns out to be if it turns out to all be defamation of character and untrue. Then guess what? You're just as liable. That's why when it comes to this stuff, I don't know, these people, these fearmongers, right? It's like, you know, the same ones who claim to be Dolphin fans, by the way, or cover the Dolphin fans, and we know they're really Cowboy fans or Tom Brady and Patriot fans, self-admittedly. We know they're casuals at the end of the day, whatever fans, you know, they are of a team they are. These people out here just, you know, so quick. You know, these people are living in the internet, you know, they're living in the internet age of, okay, you're guilty till proven innocent. And that's not how a court system works. Listen, Deshaun Watson, I never came out here and said he's guilty, guilty, guilty. I was just clearly weary, and I stated multiple times I was weary of the situation because there was like more than 20 cases. You know what I mean? And even then, I still didn't call the guy guilty. I said at the end of the day, what did I say about Deshaun Watson? I said you cannot sit here and call, it's a weird situation because you can't sit here and call the 20-plus women liars, but you also can't call Deshaun Watson a liar because it hasn't gone through the judicial process. That's what I was saying during the whole thing. You can't call either, we don't know all the facts. Same thing with this stuff. And the same thing with like, I mean, these people were telling us Tyreek Hill was going to be arrested 3 weeks ago. What happened? What happened? Someone tell me with this. Same thing with Cook. Cook was not arrested. See, that's a big thing in this situation. Dalvin Cook was not arrested. So, and all these people can say, if I didn't do anything, well, I wouldn't give any money. Well, bro, guess what? How many, do you think everyone who's gone through the judicial process, whether criminal or civil, that's been found guilty or had to pay money was actually guilty of what they did? How many criminals have you seen documentaries about them being wrongfully accused? You don't think that happens in civil cases too? So that's just a matter of, because when you get in, listen, let's be honest here, and this is coming from a father of 2 girls here. All right? Women get the benefit of the doubt, and rightfully so for the majority of the cases. There are abusers of the system out there, but women do get the benefit of the doubt majority of the time, and they should, rightfully so. But there are ones who abuse it out there. So let's not sit here and act, because I mean we've seen the Me Too movement. We saw how many people get crushed, canceled. There were people who got rightfully canceled by Me Too movement, and there were people who got wrongfully canceled by the Me Too movement. Like, that's a fact too. I mean, whether it's civil movements or whether it's cultural movements, there are the rightfully accused and prosecuted to the fullest, and then there are the wrongfully accused but yet still prosecuted to the fullest. The $1 million is just, this chick's gonna ask for multi-millions knowing my bankroll anyways. Pay the money, get her out of here. This is not hard to understand. We don't know all the facts, so you can't sit there. Listen, when you look at the word assumption or assume, what do the first 3 letters spell? Because I'm going to say don't make an ass out of yourself by assuming or with assumptions. That's why you wait for all the facts to come to you. Then once you read through all the facts, you can make an educated or formulated opinion. We don't have all the facts. We have pieces. So when you start trying to come to these conclusions and start trying to make accusations and point fingers off pieces, what happens if other pieces of the puzzle come out and now you're stuck with egg on your face? So you got to be very careful, man. You got to be very careful, and you got to be objective as possible when this stuff comes out. Until you yourself are holding on to all the facts to read through. And listen, Nick Hicks is his trainer. All right? Plus, I know other people connected to his camp. I'm telling you, this is not as cut and dry as all y'all, some of these people out here trying to make it seem. So, I mean, you know, look at Darth Logan in the comment. Logan's 110% right. Look what happened to Johnny Depp. Look at what happened to Johnny Depp. Disney came out here, took they now they want him back on Pirates, but they took him off Pirates and said he'll never. Like, it was just such a mess because they reacted before having all the facts. That's what's happening nowadays. All these people, companies, whatever, before they're getting all the facts, they react. And then some get left with legs. That's why you got to be very careful in whatever you do. Do not start jumping to conclusions until you have all the facts. And trust me, if this guy if this guy is truly a woman beater and abuser, I don't want him on my team. 110%. But none of us can sit here and say he is for fact. We also, we don't know. We don't have all the facts. So people need to relax, okay? That's all I got to say. So it's really not hard to understand why let's talk about Michael Jackson. Use Michael Jackson as an example. Michael Jackson settled with his first accusers, and that was just to make them go away. The second set of accusers he didn't settle with because they were lying like the first ones, and the word is he didn't have the liquid cash on hand. And what happened? The janitor ended up going, I believe it was the janitor, ended up going on the stand and blowing the lid on the whole thing that it was all a lie. And he was in on it because he was going to get a cut of the settlement money. It happens. It's been happening for years. It's been happening for time. And again, I'm not saying that's 110% what's happening here, but that is a very strong possibility based off the things I've been told privately. And also, we don't have the facts, so we can't make it. We can't make a decision whether it is or isn't. So don't listen to the fearmongers. Go find the facts for yourself, read the facts, and you're going to understand you don't even have the full scope of the picture yet. That's all I'm going to sit here and say. All right? And I'm by no way defending women abusers or whatever. I think, and I've said this before, I think, women beaters should be thrown in jail and have the key thrown away. I think, pedophiles and rapists and those who do anything to women or young children or young men to take their innocence away, guess what? I think they should be taken out into the middle of the street. I think they should have a bullet be put in the back of the head, and the receipt for the bullet should be sent to the families that created those monsters. So I'm not giving no excuses, but you also got to have all the facts of the case here, and I don't have that. So that's it, right? You got to be objective. Now, speaking of Dalvin Cook, let's get into, let's get into the running back market, because I don't know if you guys saw it, but, Melvin Gordon signed a new contract with the Baltimore Ravens, and I was actually shocked. Melvin Gordon signs with the former Broncos running back, signs with the Ravens, and they gave him $3.1 million. $3.1 million. That's, whew. I don't know how to take that, because let's be honest here. $3.1 million for Melvin Gordon when Dalvin's sitting out there and, he's got offers in the range of 4 to 5. Yeah, I would agree with him saying, no, thank you, I'll wait. That's unbelievable. I was actually just thrown back by how much Melvin Gordon got. I'm not going to lie to you at all. And then you also had, that wasn't the only thing that happened. Go look and see what happened with the Giants. The Giants went off, and what did they do? They signed James Robinson. Now, I don't think James Robinson affects whether they'll get something long-term done with Saquon Barkley. But covering their P's and Q's, right? Covering their P's and Q's, the running back market, 2 running backs signed yesterday. We had a little bit of movement finally. A little bit of movement, and I'll tell you this, if Melvin Gordon getting $3.1 million, let's be honest here. I think we can all agree Dalvin's at least double the player that he is. So is he not? Listen, I got to comment to this. Adrian says women will try and test these athletes. They just need to find the way to control their bodies and emotions. Listen, I heard about this back in the day, all right? Like years ago, like 10 or 11 years ago, there was a website. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. It was something like Baller, like what was it? I'm trying to remember. It was a website, and it wasn't an app. It was, but anyways, it was this website, and it was, Ballers Alert keeps coming to my mind, but it wasn't Ballers Alert. I know what the Baller Alert is, but it was a website, and I don't remember what the name was because it was so long ago. Anyways, it was a website, and what could happen is women could go on there, and what they would do is it was like live feed, and if you saw an athlete or a celebrity at like a club, a restaurant, a bar, whatever the case may be, you could post it up into this website. That way people could go see on this website where they are, and they could go chase the bag, right? Whether it's, go get knocked up, go do whatever the case may be, go get with the star, try and get with them permanently, whatever. I'm trying to remember what the name of the website was. But this was like 10 years ago, I remember this. And this website was literally all about finding athletes at bars and such and trying to get in with it. It's just weird energy, man. Just weird energy, and that's how people are out here. I don't understand it, man. So, it was just I forget. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, but it was all centralized around gold diggers, basically trying to find athletes at bars or whatever, and live feed, so you know where to go and to where to locate them and to where to run into them, et cetera, et cetera. So, I don't know. It's just people are weird, man. People are weird. They'll do whatever they can. So, anyways, let's keep it rolling on Dalvin Cook. Exactly. That's why Kanye came out with that song. She ain't nothing but a gold digger. So we got a lot to talk about on Dalvin Cook here. All right. So continuing on with Dalvin Cook, this report came out from Fox, and Henry McKenna, covers the AFC East for Fox, basically. All right. And this is what he said. Jets remain among frontrunners for free agent Dalvin Cook. And this is just as of yesterday. The New York Jets remain one of the frontrunners to sign free agent running back Dalvin Cook, according to sources close to the situation. There have been 6 teams interested in the former Vikings Pro Bowler, with the Jets, the Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins looking like the top contenders. The AFC East may just continue to stockpile talent. The Jets in particular make sense for Cook. And, then Salah, when he was asked about it, said obviously you never want to say no to a great player. And then it goes on and talks about, his lawsuit and everything here. And an AFC East coach told Fox Sports that the lawsuit is likely to impact Cook's market and confirmed that the field is narrowing to the Jets, the Patriots, and the Dolphins. So even an AFC East coach is saying it's coming down to this 3-team race. That's basically what, the report goes on. The report just goes on into like details about, Cook's camp is preaching patience, and I'll talk about some of that stuff tonight on 3 Takes for all of y'all. But, the other factor people got to take into it, I've always said it's been always about Breece Hall, right? And Breece Hall right now, he seems pretty confident he's going to be good to go pretty early on in training camp, and he's been put on the PUP list, but he said he's going to be good to go for week 1. So, I keep saying, if he's ready, that dampens, if he's ready to go for week 1, I don't see them breaking the bank for Dalvin Cook. But if he's not ready to go and he's got to be on a, limited or workload or a certain snap count for, 4 to 8 weeks, then I could see them potentially making the move for Dalvin Cook or trying to up the offer to get something done. So, we'll see. And, right there, it's said right there, an AFC East coach told that the lawsuit is likely to impact Cook market. But let's also not be naive here. This stuff's been going on for a little bit now. Teams already knew about this. You really think teams haven't talked to Dalvin Cook and his agent about this stuff? They this has been known for. This isn't just new news. Reports were coming out, back in June about this stuff. So, will it impact his market? Sure, but it's not something teams probably haven't asked about and done their homework on. If people already got offers on the table, that means they're comfortable to some extent that there's not going to be much blowback from this thing, right? And Jeremy Fowler actually spoke about the situation, and he kind of reiterated what McKenna reported there. And I'll play that clip for you guys right here.
Our senior NFL reporter, Jeremy Fowler, with us in studio. And then there's Dalvin Cook coming off of the 1,100-yard season with the Vikings. What's the latest on when and where he could sign?
Yeah, Randy, the people I'm talking to believe that Miami has sort of put the ball in Dalvin Cook's court a little bit. They're clearly interested. They've made an offer, but they're willing to be patient leading into training camp. They've already got some running backs in the stable, at least for now. But Cook is willing to be patient, too. He's figuring, hey, I've got $2 million in guaranteed money from my old Vikings contract, so he can just stay in bed and make that money. Doesn't have to overreact yet, but he would like to get to work. Most people I talk to around the league do believe that that's where he wants to play with the Dolphins, but still some AFC East flavor. The Jets have been interested, and I'm still not totally discounting the Patriots. I don't know if they're willing to spend this kind of high money, but they've looked around at a lot of the running backs in the free agency market right now.
Sounds like the money might have precluded the Patriots from getting DeAndre Hopkins, and that's how D-Hop ends up in Tennessee. We'll see if they'll spend on Dalvin Cook. And we mentioned Saquon Barkley, speaking of spending, and he...
So, again, the same narrative. Not much has changed here in terms of the teams that are leading the race. Even Fowler's still reporting the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins. And I agree with him. I don't see the Patriots breaking the bank. And I think the Patriots would have to break the bank to get Dalvin. Dalvin wants to win. Winning actually matters to him here. It's not just about the bag. Winning matters to him as much here. And a team like that's going to have to spend a little bit more than the Jets or the Dolphins, I think, to draw his interest because, it's pretty much understood that, he's probably not, he's probably not going to win there, right? He understands that. I mean, the Patriots obviously don't. They obviously think they have a chance. Good for them. So, anyways, we'll see how that all goes. But, hey, this Dalvin Cook stuff, I'm going to talk about it on 3 Takes a little bit more. Talk about a little bit of the strategy, et cetera, et cetera. And be on the lookout for that video. That'll be coming tonight because I had been doing a little bit more digging for you guys just so I could have some more info. And that ended up bringing me some info on some other guys, not just Dalvin Cook. So you're going to want to tune in for that on Patreon later tonight. All right. Continuing on, let's keep it going with Dalvin Cook here. Let's get into the legal situation here. Let's lay it out. Let's put everything out here on the table. And, I got the Pro Football Talk stuff here. And the reason why I do is because, if you didn't know, Mike Florio is actually a former, a former lawyer. I don't know if you guys know this, but Florio is actually a former lawyer. So, when it comes to this law stuff, he's actually somewhat decent at it, I think. So, we got an article here from June 20th, and then we got the article that has everyone up in a roar from 2 days ago, okay? So, this is from June 20th, guys, 2023, all right? Check this out. Title, Dalvin Cook is quietly scoring victories in his off-field legal case. As free agent back, Dalvin Cook continues his conventional search for a new team. He's also continuing an unconventional approach to being sued by someone who has alleged that he engaged in off-field misconduct. Cook has fought back relentlessly and aggressively against his accuser and her lawyers, and Cook to date is having plenty of success. The legal odyssey began in November 2021 when Graceland Trimble sued Cook for injuries arising from, based on an amended complaint filed in July 2022, an alleged incident of assault, battery, and false imprisonment in November 2020. Cook later filed a counterclaim against Trimble alleging invasion of privacy and defamation. And Cook has separately sued Trimble and her lawyers, Daniel Craig and Ann St. Amant, and their firm, Eklund and Blando LLP. While both cases remain pending and necessarily could lead to a variety of outcomes, Cook has scored some victories. On May 1st, 2023, the presiding judge in the case against Trimble and her lawyers found that Cook may amend his complaint to seek punitive damages. The judge found that Cook had made a sufficient prima facie, lawyers love their Latin, showing that the actions of the defendants demonstrated deliberate disregard for the rights and safeties of others by clear and convincing evidence. Basically, the judge found out there's enough proof to support a finding that punitive damages would be appropriate if Cook prevails in the case, and if the jury accepts the evidence as establishing deliberate disregard for the rights and safety of others. The May 1st court order lists the evidence Cook has introduced, including Trimble's medical records, text messages, and Instagram posts, an affidavit from a witness contradicting the notion that Cook was the abuser in the relationship with Trimble, video suggesting that Trimble was the aggressor on the dates in question, and an admission from Trimble via text message that she was indeed the aggressor on the dates in question. The judge concluded that Trimble and her lawyers had this information in their possession and that Cook made a sufficient showing that Trimble and her lawyers either had knowledge of the facts or intentionally disregarded facts that created a high probability of injury to the rights of others by clear and convincing standard. The judge also concluded that Cook made a sufficient showing that Trimble and her lawyers deliberately proceeded to act with indifference to the high probability of injury by engaging in efforts intended to generate unfounded negative publicity in order to pressure Cook to settle. Cook also secured in February 2023 an order compelling disclosure by the lawyers of information regarding the financial demand made to Cook for settlement of Trimble's claim, communications among the lawyers regarding the effort to publicize Trimble's case, and more. Just last week, so around June 13-ish, the judge handling the original lawsuit denied a motion for summary judgment on Cook's invasion of privacy and defamation counterclaims against Trimble. It means that his claims against her will go to trial. It's an unusual approach by a defendant accused of wrongdoing, and Cook is experiencing a rare degree of success. While many steps remain before he prevails, he has to date managed to put Trimble and her lawyers on their heels regarding their decision to proceed with efforts to try to squeeze a settlement from Cook, despite the possession of evidence that seriously undermined Trimble's claims of wrongdoing by Cook. Again, everything eventually will be sorted out by the court system based on the developments to date. Cook's efforts to defend himself against claims that he believes to be false are showing signs of success. Oh boy. So let me ask you this in the comments. For all of you that have seen the fearmongers out here that have been trying to scare all of y'all into automatically, without having all the facts, right away jumping to conclusion that Cook's guilty and stay away from him. After reading that article a month ago, are you maybe saying to yourself, oh, maybe I should wait to get all the facts? Right? Because I guarantee you those people out here fear-mongering and pointing fingers and calling Cook guilty aren't talking about that stuff, are they? They aren't talking that he has video evidence, text message evidence, all this evidence to prove she was the aggressor and she was the abuser. I'm just saying. But guess what? I'm objective, so I show both sides. I don't show one, I show both. So, here is the article from July 20th. Court filing. Ex-Viking Dalvin Cook offered girlfriend $1 million to absolve him of wrongdoing. And then it goes into detail here by Rochelle Olson. Former Minnesota Vikings star Dalvin Cook offered $1 million to a former girlfriend to clear him of wrongdoing, despite her previously sworn abuse allegations against him, according to a document filed in Dakota County District Court. The revelation in a now sealed filing by Graceland Trimble's attorney. The document was filed in opposition to Cook's request to bar testimony at trial of his cash settlement offers of $800,000 and then $1 million. Cook's initial offer of $800,000 came with the requirement that Trimble sign a swore affidavit denying abusive claims, the document said. But Trimble has already testified under oath that Cook physically abused her. That $1 million offer required Trimble to send a letter of not sworn testimony to the NFL absolving him of wrongdoing. Attorney Daniel Craig wrote that Cook's initial cash offer was not only evidence of a crime, but admissible at trial to show he tried to coax Trimble to perjure herself by changing her swore testimony. This does not pass the smell test, and that's what I think he was trying to do. I think he was trying to catch her. He was trying to show her as a liar. That's what I think he was trying to do, set her up. That's what I think he was trying to do with the cash settlement. And that's just my own personal opinion. I don't think he was admitting he was guilty. I think he was trying to prove that she was a liar with the settlement. But again, I don't have all the facts, so I got to wait for everything to play out. This does not pass the smell test and can and should be admissible as evidence of Cook's consciousness of guilt. Greg's filing read. The Star Tribune obtained a copy of the document on Thursday, hours before it was sealed. Trimble's personal injury lawsuit against Cook is set for trial in front of Cork next year. A hearing on the recent filing is set for Monday. Lawyers for Cook and Trimble did not comment. Cook, who was released by the Vikings in June after 6 seasons, remains a free agent in November 2021. Trimble filed a lawsuit against Cook alleging physical and emotional abuse. He then filed a defamation lawsuit against her in Hennepin County. Both cases are pending. In a deposition, Cook said he was aware his lawyers had initially offered Trimble $800,000 in May to provide a sworn affidavit exonerating him of wrongdoing, the filing said. After Trimble's lawyer told Cook's counsel that she wouldn't sign a fraudulent affidavit, his lawyers increased the offer a few hours later to $1 million. That higher offer required Trimble to sign a letter to the NFL relieving Mr. Cook of any wrongdoing in language to be negotiated. Trimble rejected the second offer as well. Craig's latest filing also describes Trimble's swore allegations against Cook, saying that after he threw her over a couch and onto a coffee table, her forehead and nose gushed blood. When she went upstairs to wash off the blood, Cook followed her, threw her down, pinned her, punched her, and choked her, and then grabbed his rifle, pointed her at her head, and yelled death threats, the filing said. At one point, he grabbed a broomstick and beat her before throwing her against the wall. When she fell to the ground, Cook continued to kick her in the hips and the ribs before she got up and ran down the driveway in search of help. But he led her back to the house and took her phone, the filing said. Police were not called to his Inver Grove Heights home in the incident on November 19, 2020, when Trimble has said she flew to Minnesota to break up with Cook and get her things from her house. According to her initial lawsuit, Cook and Trimble met on a Florida beach in 2018 and began an off and on, sometimes rocky relationship. Correction, a previous version of the story misstated the date of the incident between Dalvin Cook and the girlfriend. So there you go. It happened in November 2020. So, again, you read that, and the way that's worded and the way that's laid out, you know, you're going to sit there and you're basically going to automatically assume guilt. right? You know, it talks about his defamation lawsuit for one line. Nowhere in that does that say, okay, I'm fine with them explaining in detail what she alleges. That's cool. But nowhere does it detail what Cook alleges, or that he has evidence that shows her as the aggressor and her as an abuser. This is written in favor of the victim. You know, I mean, that's what there is. I don't know what else to say. You read that, you're obviously going to assume. And here's another thing that doesn't mention, because it doesn't mention the evidence, all the evidence that Cook has, the text messages, the video, you know, all that jazz. Did he not have all that evidence compiled before he made the settlement offers? We don't know. Did he make the settlement offers just to get her out of the way? Just because he didn't want to deal with this headache? We don't know. And, you know, they want to use those offers against Cook during Trimble's trial, but usually those offers are never allowed to be introduced into evidence in a civil trial. So, I mean, you know, that usually that stuff isn't even used as evidence, the settlement stuff. And, you know, it's no longer about that, but it doesn't matter, because now that settlement offer doesn't matter about whether it's in a civil court. It's in the court of public opinion now. So, you know, I don't know what to say. Now, Florio, who I also said is a lawyer and such like that, you know, when we see what he wrote about it, we'll just take a quick look at that so you guys have all of it, because he's a former lawyer. So, let me bring that up right here. What he said about it was kind of interesting, because what he said was, he said there's been chatter about this throughout the league. And so, you know, wondering if this is affecting Dalvin finding a landing spot right now. What he said right here was, you know, Dalvin Cook's free agency potentially will be complicated by developments in a pending litigation. According to Rochelle Olson of the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, the article we just read, a court filing that has since been sealed contends that Cook's lawyers offered Grayson Trimble $1 million to send a letter to the NFL relieving Mr. Cook of any wrongdoing in connection with an incident that has prompted allegations of domestic violence against Cook. The $1 million offer alleged came after Cook's lawyers offered $800,000 in exchange for an affidavit from Trimble denying claims of abuse. Trimble's lawyers want to use the settlement offers against Cook during Trimble's trial, arguing that the offers represent evidence of awareness of guilt and that the offer represents an attempt to persuade her to commit perjury. Typically, settlement offers are never settlement offers are never allowed to be introduced into evidence in a civil trial. The rule promotes the making of settlement offers in an attempt to resolve civil claims without consuming unnecessary judicial resources. If settlement offers could be used as evidence, no settlement offers would ever be made. Regardless of whether the settlement offers are introduced during the trial in open court, the evidence of the settlement offers has made its way into the court of public opinion. The request for a letter to the NFL absolving Cook of wrongdoing suggests that Cook is concerned about a punishment under the personal conduct policy. Throughout his free agency, there has been chatter in the league circles regarding hesitation arising from the possibility of a suspension. Again, Cook has denied all wrongdoing, and Cook has taken action against those who have made accusations against him. The settlement offered, aimed at resolving all matters, allowing everyone to move on, should not have been disclosed to the public, and it would be surprising if the presiding judge allows it to be used against Cook at trial. It's too late to unring that bell, however. The story has made its way to the media, and teams that were already skittish about the issue won't be any less skittish about it now. That said, Cook's lawyers will, at least, or should, investigate how the document was unsealed before it was sealed, and how it ended up in the hands of the Star Tribune. Cook's lawsuit against Trimble and her lawyers arises from efforts to leverage him to settle by weaponizing the allegations in the media. Cook's lawyers quite possibly will now contend that the settlement offer has been improperly used to smear Cook as well. So, right, we know that he's hitting the Morty with a defamation suit. Right there, Florio tells you this could be another layer to his defamation suit. How is a reporter at the Star Tribune getting this unsealed document? Because I'm going to tell you right now, it was clearly, whatever. We'll talk about that on 3 Takes, too, about how that became unsealed. Because, what's going on here? So, but you see the responsibility of Florio there? And I don't give Florio props very often. But see how he covered both sides there? Huh? Covered the Tribune side with Trimble and the unsealed document, but also covered Dalvin Cook coming after them over defamation. Right? Florio was more objective than the Tribune article. See, and the Tribune article, when it's that pro-victim and written that pro-victim, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on with who handed that document over to them, right? So, and hopefully it might backfire in their face. It really might. Because like I said, that might be used as another layer to show the defamation attempt. So, we'll see how that works out. But, that is, interesting stuff, man. And just so everyone sees it from the homie, Nick Hicks came out, and he just put it simply out here. And this is why I'm telling everyone, wait for y'all to get all the details. Wait for everything to be public. Wait for us to know. Because Nick came out, and he said, I don't jump in on this kind of stuff usually, but these are absolutely horseshit reports that are coming out. The story is deeper than that garbage. Way deeper. So, even Dalvin Cook's trainer is telling everyone, stop reading into this stuff. Stop jumping to conclusions. This is a lot deeper than we are being led to believe, right? And we won't know until we know way more details. So, stop listening to the fearmongers who are casual football fans to begin with, and you shouldn't be listening to begin with. Stop listening to them try to fearmonger you over this stuff. Like the same way they fearmongered you over Tyreek Hill. You listen to them, you would have thought Tyreek Hill was going to be arrested, thrown into cuffs, and they were going to thrown into a cell, and they'd throw the key away. Let everything play out. Be objective as fans here. Read both sides of the story. Get as much information as possible. That's what we need to do with this situation. You got to be responsible with this situation. And there's people out here with platforms not being responsible. Don't fall for the okie doke. All right? All right? Because like Robert says in the chat, Nick ain't going to hitch himself to no BS. He's just not. All right? Now, let's get into some respect coming the Dolphins' way. And over 300 of you in the chat, please smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I appreciate all y'all for coming through. Let's get into some positive talk. Let's start off with this. If you didn't see it, baby number 2 for Tua Tagovailoa coming down the pipeline, baby. Gotta love it. Baby number 2. Shout out to Tua and his wife Ann. Shout out to Tua and his wife Ann. They got another one coming on the way. A a sibling for Ace coming down the way. So shout out to all to the Tagovailoa family, growing by the day. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So happy to watch our quarterback, our franchise guy, continue to establish himself and build his family in Miami. Good for you, Tua. Man, as a father of two, can't wait, man. Good for you, sir. Good for you, and I hope it's a happy and healthy pregnancy for your lovely wife. Now, continuing on. Philip Rivers approves pro special. Listen, we got to say it. Did the rating adjusters at Madden change overnight? What happened? What happened? Because guess what? Tua Tagovailoa, ladies and gentlemen, rated as a top 10 quarterback in Madden. 10th overall. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow leading the way. I still don't think I don't know how Lamar Jackson's a 91 after that season. I have no idea whatsoever. You know what I mean? I really don't. I got to say, though, I love them not jumping to conclusions with Hurts and Herbert into the 90s. But I think Lamar should be lower than them. You know, I think Lamar should probably be around Kirk and Tua right now. I don't think he's a 91 right now. All right? Aaron Rodgers fallen. But Tua Tagovailoa getting that respect. I got to ask a question. I'm going to ask all of you in the chat right now. I want to ask you in the chat. And if you're watching this after the fact, leave it in the comments section. When was the last time the Dolphins had a top 10 quarterback in Madden? Because I've been racking my brain, and I can't remember the last. Tannehill was never a top 10 rated quarterback in Madden when he was a Dolphin. When was the last? Does anyone know this? When was the last time the Dolphins had a top 10 quarterback in Madden? Eric says probably Pennington. I'm sure someone can do some research, or someone probably knows in the chat. I want y'all to drop a guess. Pennington's a good guess. But when was the last time we had a top 10 quarterback? Ask yourself that. Now, continuing on here, they showed him Marino and Madden. Barry Bailey says never. Must have been Marino, right? Was Pennington? Pennington might be a good guess, Eric. Pennington might be a good guess. If it wasn't Pennington, then I would guess Dan Marino. But even if it was Pennington, that means we've had one top 10 quarterback in like over 23 years. No, Splash says Chad Henne. I wish, eh? We had one on Atari, says Adrian. I agree. Was Culpepper a top 10 quarterback in the rating when we had him? I don't know. Was he? I don't know, Matthew. That's a good question. So I'm really wondering. I want to know that. Shout out to Wayne. He says, with a $2 donation, he says, Tua. No way Fiedler was not a top 10. We didn't have Fiedler was in the top 10 in Madden. But they even gave Tua a little bit more respect than that. Chad Pennington was in 86, says B. McD. So that had to have been top 10 then. That had to have been top 10. Does Ricky... Knight says, does Ricky count? No, was Culpepper... Culpepper wasn't a 91 with us, though. Culpepper wasn't a 91 with us. He was a 91 with the Vikings, right? What was Tua ranked last year in Madden? He was like a 76 or something like that. And then by the end of the season, he was like an 82 or something. So now he's an 83. But check this out. They're not done giving our boy respect. He is number 3 in medium accuracy behind Burrow and Mahomes. And he's number 4 in short accuracy. So, in short and medium accuracy, top 3 and top 4. Now in top in deep accuracy, he is top 20, but his deep accuracy is only like his deep accuracy, I believe, is 86. So, and his play action's 84. He's 86 under throw under pressure, and his throw power is 86 as well, for all of you wondering. So his long is 86, so he made the top 20. And his throw power is 86 as well. So, yeah, overall 83. And that's good for the 10th best quarterback, and he's going to build on that. Let's get him into that top. Let's hope he has a season where he enters the top 2 there. All right? Let's get it, because if he enters the top 2 or the top 3 there, that means we won a lot, baby. Let's go. Let's go. All right? Now, in terms of the Dolphins team itself, all right? Let's we got some love here a little bit, huh? We have the 10th overall offense in Madden. So, hey, you gotta like that, huh? You gotta like that, huh? 10th overall offense in Madden. I'm loving it. I'm feeling it. Why not, huh? Why not? 10th overall offense. But the defense, ladies and gentlemen, number 4. We have the 4th best defense in Madden. The 4th best defense in Madden. So now everyone understands, even Madden has high expectations for this defense this year. Even Madden expects this defense to be one of the best in the NFL. Gotta love it, huh? Gotta love it. Top 10 offense, top 5 defense in this game right now. And Deontay's 110% right. The reason why is our offensive line is not good. When you actually look at our players on the offensive line, not very good at all. All right? The offensive line is a disaster when you actually look at it. You know what I mean? Like, Armstead's a 91, Connor Williams is an 80, Robert Hunt's a 79, Isaiah Wynn's a 77, Jaron Christensen is a 70, Austin Jackson's a 67, Dan Feeney's a 67, Eichenberg's a 66, Cedric Ogbuye is a 65, and Kendall Lamb's a 65. Like, you're going to have to make a starting lineup, of Armstead, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, and Isaiah Wynn, and then move Jaron Christensen to right tackle. Otherwise, you're starting a guy in his mid-60s at right tackle in this game. So the offensive line is 110% holding us back, for sure. And we have, like, the worst tight end room in the game. Our tight ends are freaking terrible in this game. They are not good. You know what I mean? Like, not good at all. I think we got the worst tight end group in the game. I want to say that. It's really not good. It's nothing to shake a stick at all. So, like, Durham Smythe isn't even in the... I don't even think Durham Smythe is in the 70s. You know what I mean? I think he's not even in the 70s. I'm trying to find the ratings here for all y'all so I can... Let me get it for all y'all. Yeah, I don't even think Durham Smythe's in the 70s on these ratings. Our tight end group is so bad in this game. Oh, yeah, here it is. So our tight ends, Tyler Croft is a 69. Durham Smythe is a 68. Saubert is a 68. Tanner Connor's a 54. So there you go. Like, our tight end group weighs this offense down big time. I would say the tight end group weighs us down the most. Right? 69 for Croft, 68 for Smythe, 68 for Saubert, 54 for Connor. That is just not good enough. So yeah, our tight end room is as ugly in Madden as it is in real life, basically. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say. Finally here, great article from Omar Kelly about Christian Wilkins. And will Dolphins Christian Wilkins accept a deal that doesn't measure up to defensive tackle peers? One of the many lessons I've learned in my decade plus of covering the NFL is that players often get in their feelings when you start discussing their paychecks. Repeatedly bring up how much a high-end player is being paid, and he'll likely catch feelings. Debate whether a player is worth a price and he and his camp are negotiating for, and they'll likely become sensitive. Discuss whether or not the player is likely going to be shakedown by the team or potential release, and he and his family will likely get hot and bothered. To be transparent, this has ended a couple of friendly relationships between yours truly and Miami Dolphins players. Mike Pouncey once blew up at me inside the Dolphins locker room in front of players in the media because I predicted that Dolphin czar Mike Tannenbaum and then head coach Adam Gase were either going to shake him down for a pay cut or release the center when the 2017 season ended in a month. Pouncey, a Pro Bowl talent, was angry that I even put out that possibility into the universe. But wouldn't you know, the Dolphins did exactly what I predicted. And my purge predictions are usually correct. Allow me to get to my point. I'm the biggest advocate for players getting their money and taking the team for whatever they can when they have the leverage. I know how one-sided the NFL business is, and I typically want to see players win whenever they can. However, I'm a realist and a straight shooter, which is why I have to point out when players are approaching challenges to their pursuit of the money. I've done so repeatedly regarding Christian Wilkins, and has led some people to get in their feelings about it. While it would be the right approach for the Dolphins to extend Wilkins, locking the team captain up, making him one of the foundational pieces to build around for years to come, I have doubts they will. I've shared those doubts and will do so again. First off, the Dolphins don't have substantial history of paying defensive linemen, especially defensive linemen they've drafted. Miami hasn't re-signed a defensive lineman they've drafted to a multi-year extension since Paul Soliai back in 2011, and that deal got done a year after they used a franchise tag on the nose tackle. Miami let Jared Odrick and Kendall Langford leave as free agents. Olivier Vernon walked after the Dolphins tagging him, then removed it because they weren't willing to match the New York Giants deal. And the Dolphins also let Devon Godshaw sign with the Patriots as a free agent in 2019. That's more than a decade of being stingy with defensive tackles. I say all of this to point out that history isn't on Wilkins' side. Neither is the escalating price of the defensive tackle position, which has surged like the price of used cars during the pandemic. Jeffrey Simmons got a 5-year, $104.7 million deal from the Titans this offseason. He'll make $19.7 million a year over the next 3 seasons, which is all I count for now because that's when the guaranteed money expires. Simmons also has a chance to earn $1.25 million per game in roster bonuses. While Quinnen Williams, who signed an extension last week, might have landed the biggest deal, 5 years, $105 million, for a defensive tackle from the New York Jets, he'll earn $18.5 million a year over the next 3 seasons. That doesn't include the $2.7 million he can earn in per-game roster bonuses the next 3 seasons. Washington's Daron Payne has the best deal of all the recently extended defensive tackles. He's making $22.1 a season over the first 3 seasons of the 4-year, $90 million deal, which guaranteed him $60 million. He has the potential to earn another $1 million for per-game roster bonuses. New York Giants nose tackle Dexter Lawrence, 5 years, $100.7 million, will pay him $18.9 million a season for the next 3 years, with the potential to earn an extra $2 million in per-game bonuses in 2024 and 2025. Ed Oliver took the most team-friendly deal, signing a 5-year contract with the Buffalo Bills that reportedly pay him $78.7 million, and he's guaranteed $45 of it, and will make $46 million over the first 3 years if he capitalizes on 2 $500,000 workout bonuses in 2024 and 2025. That averages to about $15.42 million a season during that span. Oliver can also make $840,000 in those seasons from per-game roster bonuses. Is the franchise tag realistic for Wilkins? If you're doing the math at home, the recent deals hint that Wilkins' new contract will be somewhere between $16 to $19 million in real money over the first 3 years. when Wilkins' fifth-year option at $10.7 million this season is added to the franchise tag, which is projected to be $20.8 million for the defensive tackles, the Dolphins would be paying him $31 million over the next 2 seasons if they take that route. Divide the total by 2 and it becomes $15.75 million a season. Round that up and we're looking at about $16 million a season. That's probably within the ballpark of what the Dolphins are offering up on an extension for Wilkins, which explains why one hasn't been finalized yet as the start of training camp approaches. Just a guess, but Wilkins would probably rather bet on himself, gambling on Miami not being in a position to use a franchise tag on him in 2024, since the Dolphins are projected to be $32 million over the cap for 2024 already, then take on a deal that doesn't measure up to his peers. And this is something I've been talking about. What have I said? What have I said, right? I've said, listen, I've been talking about guaranteed money, right? And I've said guaranteed-wise, I'm somewhere in the, $60 million over 4 years. All right? That's where I was. Now, if we want to boost that into, 3 years, okay, I'm good with 48 to 50 million over 3 years in terms of guaranteed money. That's what I've been talking about, the money that matters, the guaranteed money. And that's why I like that article, because he was talking about the money that matters, not about the broad scope of the final number, the inflated number. I mean, you saw a lot of those guys had more inflated numbers, so they had more incentives added than Daron Payne's contract, but Daron Payne has more real cash over the first 3 years than a lot of those guys with bigger contract numbers, right? You know what I mean? And that's what matters at the end of the day, right? So he's making $22.1 million a season over the first 3 years. Guaranteed him $60 million on a $90 million deal over 4 years. So they're paying him, they're paying him a lot of money over the first 3 years. But look at this. Quinnen Williams, 5-year, $105 million deal, but he's only getting $18.5 million a year. Dexter Lawrence, 5 years, $100.7 million, $18.9 million a season. Right? Jeffrey Simmons, 104, but he's making $19.7. So Daron Payne has $90 million over 4 years, but he's making more guaranteed money per year, and that's what matters. And listen, I'm not sorry, Christian Wilkins, to me, should make a little bit more than Ed Oliver's guarantee. Ed Oliver's making about $15.42 million a year in guaranteed money. If you want to include the roster bonuses, about $15.92 million over the first 2 years. And I agree, 16 to 18 million a year in guaranteed money is where I see Wilkins. You know what I mean? And I'm totally fine with a 4-year deal. I like Daron Payne's deal, but I'd spread the money out differently. They're trying to get the money out in the first 3 years. I'd try and spread it over 4 years in terms of that. But if you're spreading it out for 3 years, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with $50 million over the first 3 years. Guaranteed money. But, and, I'll, mass 17 million in terms, I don't care. If that thing comes out and says they signed Christian Wilkins to a 5-year, $100 million deal, but only, 50 of it is guaranteed over the first 3 years, all I care about is the guaranteed money. I don't care about the other nonsense. It's all about the money that's going to be hitting the books. So 16 to 18 million guaranteed over the first 3 years, I think is fair. I'm not getting into that $20 million range. That I don't think he's worth 19 million guaranteed. I think 16 to 17 is a good number. That's where I'm at with that. And then finally, I got a nice little stat. We always prop up Warren Sharp on this. Check this out in 2022, last year. Percentage of drives that went 3 and out, gentlemen and ladies. The Dolphins were the best in the NFL. Detroit and Miami, only 25% of their drives last year went 3 and out. All right? That's crazy. We are talking about, and that was year 1 in this offense, people. Whenever you see these numbers, whenever you see these stats, whenever you see these analytics, always think to yourself, my God, that was year 1. What are they going to do in year 2? Huh? And we missed Tua for 5 games. That number could have been even better. I'm just saying. It could be even better. And it will be even better in year 2. Man, I can't wait. Listen, Chris, I see what Chris is saying. Chris, I agree with you. I told everyone this. I want everyone to think about this. When you think about players that are going to be here in the next 5 years, in 5 years when you look at this team, Tua, Waddle, Cater Kohu, Jalen Phillips, and Javon Holland are the only guys who look like they're going to be guaranteed to be here in 5 years. A-Chain has a 4-year deal. He's not even guaranteed to be here in year 5 years from now. Though, and Tua, out of those guys that named, he's got to stay healthy this year. If he stays healthy this year, yeah, he'll be here in 5 years. Jalen Phillips, and people might not want to hear it, and I get what you're saying, because Jalen Phillips and Javon Holland, they are bigger pieces to the long-term structure of this defense. And with the money coming up, Waddle's a bigger long-term piece to this team, because him and Tua are the core pieces of the offense until A-Chain proves this year he can be that other core piece. But people need to realize, man, we have got contracts coming up that matter and players that matter, and that's going to impact Christian Wilkins' money. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if Jalen Phillips has a year we all think he's going to have, Jalen Phillips is more of a priority getting a long-term deal done than Christian Wilkins in this defense. I keep telling all y'all, listen, interior defensive linemen can eat in Fangio's defense 110%, but they are not a paid priority like edge rushers, second level, and secondary players in this defense. Interior defensive linemen can eat in this gap and a half scheme, but when it comes to the payday, when it comes to forking out the big dollars, edges, linebackers, and secondary players are what make the bread in the Fangio defense. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be back on Monday unless something breaks for all of y'all. And, hey, Monday I'll be back. Tuesday, the Veterans Report. Wednesday, we got the Finish Line with me, Richmond Webb, and Mr. Ballgame. And then Thursday, me, Neil Driscoll, for Fin Too Deep, and we will be in it for training camp. Over 310 of you in the room. Please smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. Fins up all day, every day. And I will see all of y'all in the next one. Peace out, guys.